Hey guys, this is going to be part two of the system. If I can keep it on that topic, I don't have any notes. I never good anyway. I speak from my heart, and whatever I remember, whatever comes out. I'm going to continue on from the first part of the tape on the system. I think I covered the tools and the mechanics and the fact that we provided tapes and books and seminar rallies and regular functions and all the necessary things that you needed to read and listen to. But the most important part of the system was the personal relationship, was the development that came about by having a mentor. We were really strong, and I believe sincerely to be a truly great success in life that you have to have a mentor, a coach, someone that can guide you and direct you and support you and help you and encourage you to become the best you can be. And there's a strong difference, in my opinion, between a friend and a mentor, and it's difficult to actually be both. Because most definitions of a friend is, someone who accepts you as you are and loves you even with your faults and flaws, and loves you in spite of yourself or in spite of the things that may not be perfect. A mentor and a coach is someone who sees the greatness within you and sees your potential and sees what you can become and what you can be, and needs to be able to encourage and uplift, but at the same time sometimes be a little tough love, sometimes get you to go beyond what you would do without a coach or a mentor, and perform beyond your own personal expectations and perform up to the expectations of your coach or your mentor. I know in my own case that was vital. I had a very low self-esteem early on. Well, I don't know if it's low self-esteem as much as a low belief that I could build a people business, that I could ever learn to relate with people. I know the first heavy counseling session, part of the system, probably the most important part of the system, was what we call personal counseling and how you develop that personal relationship. We were pretty much required, which was never a requirement, because the way that we edified the upline leaders, and that's another topic, edification, was if you had the opportunity and if you were so blessed and so honored to be invited to spend time with these people, particularly in their homes, which is where we did a lot of the personal counseling. We'd go to your upline's home. You didn't have to be hardly encouraged or made mandatory. You were more than willing to do that. And what these sessions were, they were usually 3 days. Usually, in most cases, you would fly in on a Friday afternoon, evening, and you would stay there through Sunday night, maybe leave Monday morning or Sunday night, depending if you still had a job or not. And what majority of that time would be doing was basically out dream building. A good upline leader in this business knows exactly, and I used to pass out goal sheets in my meeting and have people write down the things that they wanted to accomplish and make a copy and give me a copy to have in my file. That became very, very, very productive. In fact, my first diamond actually quit the business twice, and I used that goal sheet to send to him to get him recharged to come back into business. I'll tell that story at another time. How you built a relationship and how you built a friendship was by showing people that you deeply cared about them, and you cared about what they wanted, and you wanted to help them get what they wanted, and you were a team, and you were a partnership, and you were always there to encourage and help and provide information and inspiration and motivation as much as necessary. It was you and I are in this thing together to the bitter end, and we will make it work. I know the first time that I went to my upline and had a really heavy personal counseling session, once I reached a particular leadership level, I had a fairly rough period for the month or before I went there, and I was feeling pretty down on myself. I hadn't had a lot of success. I had a lot of people that I kind of blew out of the business because I was too heavy and too strong with them before I learned a lot more about people who know how much you care, or don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. And I sat down, and they asked me, they were sitting across the table from me, husband and wife, and they asked me to write down the things I thought that were great about myself, the positive things about myself. And that was a struggle. I took a piece of paper and a pencil. I struggled to get down, I don't know, 3 or 4 things. Meanwhile, I just noticed that the wife was over there just scribbling on a piece of paper like crazy. I didn't know what she was writing. And when I got done telling them the 3 or 4 things I thought that was good about me, the positives and the strengths I had, she rattled off about 40 things that they saw in me as strengths. And that's what personal counseling is all about. It's all about getting people to believe. It's a tough business to go out there and face rejection. And I don't give a darn how great the product is or how great the plan is. Human nature is human nature. And there's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of negative out there. Sometimes that negative is in your own family. And rejection is a tough thing for most people to handle. And most people don't have a high self-esteem and expect of them themselves, and other people are more than willing to point that out, their weaknesses and their faults and their flaws. And our job as leaders in this business is to do just the opposite. To be a place people can come for constant encouragement. You should never put anybody down. If you have to correct, if something comes up that needs correction, you use the old sandwich technique. And you do it very gently and very carefully. You spend a lot of time pointing out something great about them and compliment them and building them up. And then you slip in very carefully whatever the correction might be, and it needs to be very gentle. And you need to be very careful about it. And then after you slip the correction in, you go right back and re-compliment them again. It's called the old sandwich technique. People are very, very sensitive to criticism. There is no such thing as corrective criticism. You never, ever, ever criticize someone. You can gently correct using the sandwich technique. Mainly you just point out their positive. I know the first time I got to meet with the big guy for personal counseling, I was a little intimidated, a little scared. This was the big guy himself. And I was in my first personal counseling role with him. And I did the same thing again. He asked me what I thought my strengths were, and I rattled off my strengths. But then I went right into talking about I need to change this, I need to get better at this, and I need to do a lot of work on this. And this was one. And he stopped me. And he said, "No, you don't need to do that." He said, "You don't need to focus on your weaknesses." He said, "That's the beauty of the system in your upline. Other people can provide those things that you can't." He said, "Your job is to get as good at the things that you are good at and become better at those things. Find out where your strengths are and build those strengths." I said, "But man, don't you want to relate to more people?" He said, "Well, I've built a massive organization. I figure about 15 to 20% of the people relate to me. I just talked to enough people that 15 to 20% is a lot." And that's what I had to do. I had to sponsor a lot of people. I had to approach a lot of people. I mean, I don't know how many I approached. I'm sure it was thousands over the 25-year period. And out of those thousands I approached, I don't know what percentage I ended up showing the program to. Probably, I don't know. I don't even want to, because you didn't count that. I never wanted to analyze that. I never wanted to know because it didn't matter. I knew that I would talk to enough until I found enough that would build the business to the point that it provided me with the things that I needed. And I learned later that I had to completely take that different approach and forget about what I needed and start finding people that I could help get what they needed. And the old Zig Ziglar thing, when you help enough other people get what they want, you'll certainly get what you want. But I want to get off the topic of what the most vital aspect of the personal counseling was, and building the personal relationship and continuing to encourage. And then another vital thing that we did, half the time that people spent with you, that you spent with your upline, or people spent with you, you go out dream building. You go out and you touch and feel. You find out what the people want. If it's a car, you go out and you drive and let them drive that car. Or if it's homes, you go out and take them through homes. We used to go break into homes that were for sale and just find a window open or find a way to get in. Spend time in those homes. Got caught a few times and asked to leave. Didn't matter. It was worth it. Go out and try on jewelry, clothes, go to nice resorts just to go in and let them see what the lobbies are like, and really nice plush resorts, and get people in touch with there's another world out there, that there are things out there to experience and things to enjoy, travel brochures, just all kind of things you do to get people thinking bigger and dreaming bigger. So it's a combination of thinking about more things that there are out there to enjoy and things they might want to have, and at the same time getting them to believe that they deserve it, and they were capable of having it. And with the help of the team and the support, and me, your upline, your mentor, we're going to do this together. We're going to make this happen. It is vital to build that into people. That is probably the most, not probably, that is the absolute most important thing that was done in the support system. It took me a while to learn that. I blew a lot of people out of the water. I cost myself millions and millions of dollars and thousands of people, thinking it was my job to educate and teach and train and provide information. And I mean, I used to, nobody could come up with more information and more illustrations than I could. And I blew a lot of people out of the water because that's not what they wanted from me. What they wanted from me was encouragement. What they wanted was recognition. What they wanted was to feel important. What they wanted was friendship, to believe in them. It's all about belief. Selling is transference of belief, particularly in this business. It's built on faith and trust and belief. We can get into some of those faith and trust issues when I get into the pattern. But it's very important in the beginning. I know a lot of who became some of my bigger leaders who built organizations of hundreds and thousands of people didn't particularly like me in the beginning. I wasn't all that likable. But they followed me because of my passion and my belief. And they might not have believed in themselves. There were so many people. A couple of guys that became some of my biggest leaders had real problems with self-esteem. And they didn't believe in the beginning, but they rode on my belief. They kind of got just hooked on and rode my coattail. And rode on my belief, and rode on my belief in them. When they didn't believe in themselves, they knew I believed in them. They didn't want to let me down. I didn't want to let my upline down. Sometimes I would do things that were uncomfortable because I knew they believed in me and they were counting on me. I cannot spend enough time and energy, I can't do this justice in a few minutes, of how vital it is and how much the need is for people to have someone believe in them. To have an encourager, to have a mentor, to have someone who they believe is their partner, who they believe is their teammate, who is there when they need them, who is concerned about their success and they're reaching their goals and dreams as they are themselves, sometimes even more. You've got to believe in people in the beginning more than they believe in themselves. This is probably the most important topic I can cover. And I probably can't do it justice. It was not my strength for a long, long time. It was probably 15, 18 years of replacing people and replacing people and replacing people. I built a group to about, I don't know what the number was, maybe a couple thousand people. And it kind of stagnated because I ended up in the replacement business. I'd go build an organization and then I would not handle it right, and most of them would leave. And they would leave for other reasons too. And I'll cover that at another time. There was an aspect of the system that my upline was using which wasn't necessarily conducive to building the largest organization you could build. There was a closing of the doors, and it has to do with the way they use religion. You got to, in my opinion, and not my opinion, I've seen the difference between my organization when there was politics and religion being used as a tool, and when I decided to take charge of my own organization and took the politics and religion completely out of it. My organization went from about 400 to 600 people coming to meetings to 16,000 people in a relatively short period of time. And I added a couple of recognition things, but I took the politics and religion completely out of the business. It has no place there, in my opinion. If you want to leave the door wide open for everybody to feel comfortable. My opinion is if you want to build a large networking business, you want to make it available to anybody and everybody as long as they've got decent morals and not doing harm to themselves or other people. I don't care what their religion is. I don't care what their politics is. It'll probably change when they get in this environment, but we don't want to enforce that on people or make people think they've got to believe a certain way in order to feel comfortable and be a part of the organization. We welcome all, and you want the doorway to come into the business as wide as you can get it. So anyway, I'm out of time. I hate to end on that particular topic, but that is an important topic with me. Keep the business about the people more than anything else, not about the business, about helping people accomplish their dreams. Encourage, uplift. Make sure everybody that spends time with you on the phone, in person, feels better when they leave than when they came. That is the ultimate responsibility of leadership in this business. Make sure anytime people come to hear you, listen to you, counseling from you, listen to you do whatever you do, make sure they feel better when they left than when they came, and you will become a masterful leader. Have a great day.